Hello everybody, I hope you're all well. In this video, I'm going to talk about the products that I have hit pan on that are currently in my collection. So, before I get into this, I'm going to go over the makeup I'm wearing on my face, which primer, I tried out the NYX Marshmallow primer. Haven't really, so far, honestly, it's looking alright. I can see the hype behind that. Then I'm wearing a combination of several face products. So a little bit of this Wet n Wild cushion corrector, the yellow one. Bought the little set that it came in thinking this was a peach. I didn't read the description. Oh well. I like it. It still works. This product, like this whole line Wet n Wild had come out with, was honestly fantastic. But I can never find it anywhere anymore besides like in the Blushing Theory set that it came in on Beauty Bay. And I've got this little concealer stick on all of my little spots. Gotta cover up them pimples. Then under my eyes, my go-to Lasting Perfection concealer from Collection. Then for foundation, I'm wearing the Ordinary Serum foundation, which I'm actually really liking. I really like my skin to look like skin, so that is why I like that. Then bronzer. Upside down. Hoola bronzer. Highlighter is Wet n Wild Blossom Glow. This is beautiful. It's a beautiful pink highlighter. Then for blush, I am wearing Mellow Wine from Wet n Wild, which also beautiful. Love it. I definitely see the hype and why it's got such a cult following. Then I'm wearing the Colourpop Freckle pen just to redefine my little lip freckle and my eyebrow freckle. Wet n Wild Mega Length Mascara. Tried this out because my Berry M1 is starting to dry up on me. Then Wet n Wild Retractable Brow Pencil. This is one of those triangle shaped ones. Color match is good. Not sure how I feel about this. I'm used to the little microfine ones. Then on my lips, I am wearing, this is a little Topshop lip liner in ceramic. I'm not sure if you can even get this anymore. But this was my all-time favorite for a long time. I'm almost out of it. I have found a it's a replacement. It's not the same one. The one I found is by Rimmel in the shade Tiramisu. But until I use that up, I'm not using the Rimmel one. Then on top of the lip liner, I'm wearing the Wet n Wild Coffee Cat lip gloss in the shade Deja Brew. And this smells like coffee. Just do with that information what you please. Then on my eyes, this will actually segment us into the video, which is about the products I've hit pan on, that are currently in my collection, and it is all eyeshadows currently. I've not hit pan on any face products yet. But on my eyes, I'm wearing the Frozen 2 Elsa palette, shade Northern Lights and shades Northern Lights and Fire. Northern Lights I hit pan on today. This I count as my first pan in here because this was a pressed glitter. There's a pressed glitter in this one and the Anna palette. I scraped those out completely. I will never use them. They're not safe for the eyes. So it blows my mind why they're in an eyeshadow palette. But it is what it is. Colourpop's gotten a lot of controversy for that. As far as I know, they haven't fixed it yet. But oh well. You can't exactly. It's a big company, so gotta do what you gotta do. I had to scrape it out, so I wouldn't use it. I have hit pan in Warm Hugs in this. My goal for the next one to hit pan on in this is either I'd like to hit pan on Scooch In, which is a little white golden shade, Earth, which is a beautiful yellow gold, or Fearless. It's more likely I'll hit pan in Fearless than the others. In the Elsa palette, Fire is the one I want to hit pan in next. I use this in my crease all the time and I've barely made a dent. And then Cuddle Close is one I'd like to hit pan on. So I'd like to have a pan in the whole top row of this one. Then Natasha Denona Mini Lila palette. I have hit pan in Linen. I'd like to hit pan in Flint and Raisin. Those are the two that I want to hit pan in one of those by the end of the year. Another pan. Then this is the Viseart Petite Pro 1. You can see I have hit pan in almost all of them. All but two. Yeah, all but two shades. So, next one that I'm trying to hit pan on is this one. That little, like, deep red matte shade. This is a well-loved palette. This was a birthday present from my now husband. I think he was only my boyfriend at the time, honestly. But that says something. That's been a while since I've had that. So it's about time that I hit pans and try to work that out of my collection. With Viseart shadows, I have found that they lose their quality over time. So with Colourpop, I've had some Colourpop shadows for the Elsa palettes the Frozen palettes I've had for about a year. Still great. After about a year, the Viseart palette was not as easily blendable. The shimmers were not as buttery. So it's about time I want to hit pan on those last two shades and then work that out of my collection. That is my go-to palette, whenever I travel. So if my husband and I are going into London for the weekend, I'll bring that with me. The darkest brown matte is my perfect brow shade. Easy day look, easy night look. And if I lost it or left it, I wouldn't be mad. So that's why I take that with me everywhere. The next is the OG Naked palette. This works exactly the same as it did the day I bought it. So I've got Virgin, Sin, Naked, Buck, Half Baked, Smog, and Toasted. Those are all the shades that I've hit pan in. Now the next shade I'd like to hit pan in is Sidecar. I use Sidecar quite a bit, and then Hustle would be the next one that I'd want to hit pan in. These two I don't ever use. This is my Panda palette for this year. I really have not reached for this recently at all. But I'm going to get back into this soon. And then I've got the Anastasia Subculture palette. You can see I have hit pan in 5 shades. So Cube, Dawn, Adorn, Roxy, and Electric. It threw me off with Electric because the pan is stained green from the shadow. But after I hit pan in those, I just never really reached for it anymore. I don't gravitate towards these other colors that often. Untamed, that dark green I do gravitate towards quite a bit when I use my Hoola palette, my Emerald palette. But besides that, I really just don't reach for this. So, ultimately, I do want to hit pan in another shade by the end of the year. I don't really know which one that would be. I'd like to say it would be one of the fun shades down here. More likely than not, it's going to be Fudge or New Wave. It's going to be one of these two. And then we've got Colourpop's Wild Nothing. I bought this the day it released, and I love this palette, as you can tell. I've hit pan in 3 shades. I've hit pan in Salt On, Spirited, and Hot Springs. Hot Springs is beautiful, but so are these two. These two are really easy to hit pan in. That's a Super Shock formula, which are insanely easy to hit pan in. But the next one I would like to hit pan in would be Coastline, which is this guy right here, or Vagabond, which is a really pretty, a little bit of a deeper transition shade. Oh, it's thundering. Which is fine by me. I love me a good summer storm. I love me a good storm. I grew up, right on the edge of Tornado Alley, and we were just north of Dixie Alley. So I grew up with severe storms, bad weather. Since moving to England, I crave it. I crave a good thunderstorm that scares you a little bit. And I never thought I would say that. I grew up terrified of thunderstorms. And then I started watching Storm Chasers, learned about storms and all that, and my favorite thing was driving to work in a thunderstorm so I could see what was going on. I witnessed a tornado. It was an EO0, granted, but I still witnessed one from the back parking lot of the mall that I worked at. There was a tornado. So where I grew up in Paducah is Paducah, Kentucky. We were right across the river from Metropolis, Illinois. And there was an EF0 tornado in Metropolis. No sirens were going off, nothing. It wasn't even predicted for severe weather. I remember taking a picture of the sky and circling it and sending it to my now husband and saying, I think there's a tornado in Metropolis. And only to find out later that night there was. And it just hadn't been reported. All it did was minor tree damage because it was such a weak one. But that's still the first tornado I have ever seen, and since then I have been addicted to storms. And honestly, I've considered going back to school for meteorology. But, tangent over. Storybook Cosmetics Little Briar Rose palette. I have hit pan in Enchanted. You can kind of see how thin these pans are They have since changed their packaging to include a drawer in here to make it a little bit more worth it. But the next pan I would like to hit would probably be Woodland or Spindle. Or Beauty. Honestly, it probably is going to be Beauty because these shimmers are so easy to hit pan in. This palette is really nice. I do like it. I do like the formula. But would I spend the money on it? No. I do not think it's worth the cost that they are. But if they were gifted to me, that's another story. That one was gifted to me. Then the last palette that I have I think only one pan in is Smitten in Switzerland from BH Cosmetics. I love this palette. This is my first and only BH Cosmetics palette. And I love their shadows. Like, I love the formula. I have hit pan in Zurich. And that was, like, my go-to shade for a while. It's similar to Northern Lights from the Colourpop Elsa palette. It is a similar, like, lilac-y with a blue duochrome. Beautiful, beautiful palette. Beautiful shade. This palette is stunning. Next one I would like to hit pan on is, like, one of these three up here. One of these three neutrals. So either Snowcap, Montreux, or Fondue. Is that Montreux or Montreux? I don't speak Swiss. I am Swiss. I don't speak it. But, yeah, one of these first three shades is what I would like to hit pan on. Or even Geneva, like next to Zurich. Which is that really pretty, like, bronzy shimmer that everybody goes to in the fall. Now, the last 6 palettes that I do not have pans in, I will tell you the ones that I'd like to hit pan on. So, this is the e.l.f. Matte for Matte Summer Breeze. This little first shade is the one I'm trying to hit pan on. Or this, like, peachy rosy color right here. Those are the two that I'm trying to hit pan on in that palette. The Charlotte Tilbury palette, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to hit pan in this. This is a very sentimental one for me. This is what I wore on my wedding day. So, if anything, I probably would hit pan on this little gold shade, which is, it just says number 1 prime. Cool. It's the first shade in here. It is a really pretty champagne color. If I were to hit pan on any of them, it would probably be that one. Or even one of these. This one I just don't really go for. But in the fall, I love a good smoky, cranberry smoky eye. So, these are the two, like, shades I would use for that. So, but I don't have a goal to hit, like, I have a goal to get one pan in every product, every eyeshadow palette that I have. This one's going to be a little sad to hit pan in one of them, because that is what I wore on my wedding day. But, next, Revolution, I Heart Revolution Tasty Peach palette. It doesn't, I was hoping it would smell like peach, kind of like the Too Faced Sweet Peach. But, it is what it is. This palette is stunning. I've not hit pan in any yet, because this is one of the newer ones in my collection. If I were to hit pan in any of them, honestly, I'm closest to hitting pan in Princess, so it might be that one. But, knowing me, it was probably going to be Persipan, I think is how you say it, Persipan? I don't know, it looks like it's meant to be Persimmon, but it's not. And then I have got Colourpop Blue Moon. This was a pain for me to get my hands on because of my whole issue with Colourpop, which I've mentioned in several videos, stories, on Instagram. Like, I'm just not even going to get into it. It is stunning. I don't gravitate towards blue shadows. I didn't have really any. I've had a few, but they're not, like, true blues in my collection, which is why I bought this. Oh, I've got 7 palettes. That were left, not 6, because I forgot about that one. But if I were to hit pan at any of them, it would most likely be Moonlight or I'm going to say Tide Pool. So, one of these two. That's just, I have a feeling those were the ones that I would hit pan on. I really need to actually pull this out and play with it one day. But I just haven't yet. Okay. Huda Beauty Emerald Obsessions. I'm obsessed with this palette. I see the hype behind Huda Shadows. This was gifted to me by my best friend. She just never reached for it. I told her once she decides she wants to part ways with it, I claim it, so she gave it to me. excuse me. I already know I'm going to hit pan in this one. This is going to be the first one I hit pan in. Because I've got the biggest dip in it. I gravitate towards that shadow more than anything. It is the most stunning inner corner highlight. Or if you do like a halo eye, just pop in a little bit in the center of the lid. I already know that's just the one I'm going to hit pan on. Then we've got I Heart Revolution Turkish Delight palette. This palette smells like roses. This smells like an old Avon rose-scented perfume, and I'm obsessed with it. As far as shadows that I am going to hit pan on, most likely Delicacy. It is one of those good, go-to, just standard champagne colors. And it is stunning. I'd like to hit pan on Squidge, this one. It's kind of an uglier color. I feel like it'd be a good transition shade, though. Or Candy. I do reach for this specific shade quite a bit, surprisingly. And then, last but not least, the big boy. We got the Beauty Bay 42 Color Brights palette. I'm obsessed with this palette. Very obsessed with this palette. I've not hit pan at any of them, but I have a feeling it is probably going to be either in the first row or this specific pink shade. There's an old Lancome shadow. I cannot remember the name of it, but it looks identical to this one. It is a rose color with a gold shift to it, and it is one of the most stunning eyeshadows. It was given to me, the original Lancome one was given to me by my mom years ago when I was in high school. I used up that entire shadow, and I was so sad when I did, because I couldn't get my hands on it again. I couldn't find it anywhere. I could not remember the name of it. But, that's it. That's all my palettes. This is ending very abruptly. I'm sorry. I've got to get better about that. But, that is my shadows. That was the stuff that I've hit pans on, and then my goals for the other palettes I've not hit pans on. And yeah, so if you want any update, like project pan videos, I'm not super structured about it. I get too bored. I get very, very bored if I'm really structured about it. So I just kind of go with the flow. I've got a generalized goal that I try to meet throughout the year. And I'm always posting on my Instagram whenever I, like on my stories, if I hit pan, if I get an empty, and I have them all saved in a highlight reel. So if you do want to see that, go follow me on Instagram. It's always in the bio. The Instagram handle is always in the bio, in the description. My Instagram handle is always in the description and I'm going to add all 3 of my accounts this time. My last video I only added 2. Like my actual makeup one and then my personal one. I do have like a generalized creative one, which is mainly like art and crafting. And that will be in there this time too. Before we head out, jewelry. Second holes, little lightning bolts is Claire's. Little dream catchers are Claire's. Gold choker is Claire's. Little black gummy bear necklace is from Shein. And then my wedding band is from Patrick Adair. My eczema's been flaring up, so that's why it's only my wedding band. I have finally gotten to the root of that, which will be in another video. I'm not sure if it's going to be up before or after this one, but we will see just when I decide to upload it. But that is the end of this video, so if you enjoy, please subscribe. And I will see you next time. Bye!